My number one is Promising Young Woman. I think the best thing about it is probably, as you mentioned, you talked about dialogue. The screenplay is the best thing about this film. Uh, and John, you mentioned this off podcast that it kind of got popular for the wrong reasons. I
Yeah.
agree with that, but I mean, I must say that it does talk about a real problem, and I'm sure a lot of people who relate to the story, especially women, of course, will definitely get that out of it. But people must understand the reason I like this film is because it's well written. It's a solid revenge movie at its core. It does have this kind of feminist angle to it, but that's just because she's a woman and because these things happen in real life. It kind of almost has to be in a way a feminist film, but that's not really the approach and the way I'm watching it. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying that's my personal take. Yeah, so the writing is very precise. There's a lot of there's a strong use of phrases in the dialogue scenes that you hear when stories like this come up in real life. You hear people giving these excuse no ex- well,
Yeah.
they can be either excuses or ways to tell someone to cope, move on, this that. And there's nice comebacks to those things from the main character. So that's a cool way to play with those phrases and ways of manners of speech,
I think it was
that are
with
commonly
people
used.
justifying
Yeah,
turning the
just
other
yeah. I'm just
justifying
trying to
turning
keep it
the
a
other
bit
cheek.
vague. I'm just
Yeah.
trying to keep it a bit vague because I
Yeah.
don't want to
Yeah.
spoil it. And then
I
another
know
thing that I
exactly what
need
you
to
mean.
mention that we didn't bring up is the filmmaking because it has this very colorful, kind of playful feel, like look. It's very there's a lot of very vibrant. There's a lot of focus on her fingernails, painted a lot. But I think I don't know if this is probably intentional, but it's just something I gathered from it. It's almost like it's showing us the how the dark themes, the theme is quite dark and it's kind of a brooding thing that happens under the surface, right? Because you have this surface of nice guys, but then when certain opportunities arise, the dark side comes out. In the same way, the film has this surface of playfulness, while it has all these dark themes brooding under it. I thought that was an interesting way to portray the film, to make it very colorful like that. Because they could have made it miserable and gray and dark, but I think it works better this way. Just making it seem fun and like, oh, all's good, guys. And then underneath there's all these things happening and brooding, right? So that was cool. One little criticism, if I may, for the film, quite a nitpick to be honest, but I'm just trying to look for something for the purposes of review and discussion. I thought the actual filmmaking when it came to the shots and stuff was quite bog standard, to be honest. It felt like I was watching just a random American movie or TV show. Like there was nothing too original to that side of the filmmaking, like just the framing in general and things. It was
Talking
quite boxed.
composition.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Something. Yeah. Let's say.
I'll send you some screenshots later because
Yeah, I
I
mean,
think
there are some things I might have forgotten, but I thought
yeah.
in general, my first reaction to the film is that I think the thing that was lacking the most was that.
Well, I
It's not.
think
It wasn't bad by any
this could
means.
be a
Okay.
positive note that you were kind of taken in by the story. You forgot to
Yeah. No,
not
that's
forgot. Sorry, you
that's
looked past
great.
the composition because there was
Yeah.
some nice composition
Yeah.
in
No,
that
don't get
movie.
me wrong. I'm not saying it was bad. I'm just saying if it didn't feel too creative. You know what I mean?
All right.
It felt quite standard. Let's say. But apart from that, yeah, great revenge film. Yeah, solid script.
Any comments, guys?
Yeah,
Well,
we've all
if
shared.
it's gonna be your first place, we might as well just talk about it now and get it over with.
I have some things to say I guess I can add something to everyone's since I came for me it's second place, and every time I forgot something. I like what you mentioned about the colors, James, because it's true. It's a very colorful movie. It's almost like it's a fun movie, almost a comedy, and I like that because it creates this disturbing juxtaposition, which reminds me like it's very fun. It can be very fun and enjoyable, And real life can be like that as well, but it can also show that underneath everything, there's a dark side to it. There's a sort of like behind closed doors kind of
You might
macabre
say there is a
tragedy.
Steppenwolf to it.
Yeah, yeah, I
I'm just
guess
kidding.
so. With cheese
You
grater
said dark
armor.
side. Yeah.
Yeah, oh, that's what you meant. Okay.
God, terrible. Sorry.
Um, yeah, and yeah. I remember there were a few shots in the movie which were really good as well, and I forgot about the fingernails. Yeah, as well. And again, one last thing: the way common stock phrases, which are memed and parodied to death online, are weaved into conversation in this movie, it's really well done. It doesn't feel ham-fisted or forced. It's like they got the most common phrases which people use to justify these awful things that predators do, and without making it seem like we're ticking a box, they weaved them in because they had
Yeah.
the time to do it. They had the time to do it. It was very natural.
It
You
seemed
know,
authentic, you know?
very authentic.
Yeah.
Not ham-fisted at all. I was quite impressed.
And also another thing is interesting about this film, the whole way they reveal information, like they give you bit by bit, they're unraveling kind of her plan and the past as
Yes.
well. So there was a lot of mystery to the film and a lot of small things that one might not think were intentional, but were definitely intentional. Like, this is not spoiler really, it's just a bit of the basic plot. You don't really know what she does to these guys until like halfway through the film. And like after the first scene where she meets the first guy, she has like some red drops on her clothes, and you're kind of wondering like what the hell happened. And then she
Yeah.
has like a notebook and she's crossing out names, and you're like, where's this going? And these things get revealed as the
She's
movie
putting
goes
the
on.
checks.
Yeah, so yeah, something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah. So it's
It's
interesting just to reveal information, how it rolls it out to you slowly. It
one last
True, yeah.
keeps you watching.
It was executed well in that light.
Yeah.
That was good.
And one last thing I'll say is that then the film never really reveals everything. There's one major thing in the movie which I will not spoil, and I guess you'll know what I'm talking about, where you never really find out what happened, and
Well,
it's
I think it's strong. It's implied enough.
no, but you know what happened, cliff notes, but you
Yeah.
don't know what exactly happened. It's left to your imagination, which works.
Oh,
Yeah, I thought
see what
that
you
was
mean.
a
They
good
didn't.
thing. I mean,
Yeah,
I'd
works.
rather
No,
that
yeah.
than
No,
someone
it's
saying,
great.
"This is what happened. Look at it."
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
like I don't really want to even see that.
In a way, it's still
Neither do
showing
I.
without telling. No, it's better if they don't. It's
Yeah.
better if they don't. So we have our own idea of horror. Anyway,
Okay.
Jerry boy, it's
Let's
your
move on.
turn.
Okay, so here's the thing. For my number one, I wanted a film that could actually keep me guessing of what's going on. Every single film I have watched this year, midway through the plot, I can imagine how the film would end. More or less, always. I've always seemed to have this problem. The final film and my number one, I actually kept guessing. I was actually caught completely off guard, and that is why Wonder Woman 1984. Just kidding.
I didn't
It's
take you
Promising Young
seriously for
Woman.
1 second.
I think you
Promising
got
Young
me.
Woman.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's still processing right now. I'm still trying to register what just happened.
Oh God. Let's not get
That is
into
why.
open that can of worms yet.
And that is why Promising Young Woman deserves my top position. It's the it's the only film this year in which I actually had to guess what was happening. You couldn't understand what she was doing at first, like you always said. Every action she did was a bit of a mystery, which I got quite well into, which actually invested me. It's sort of like Kill Bill, but if you don't know anything, a psychological
In a
Kill
way,
Bill.
yeah.
It reminds me a bit of Breaking Bad. Vince Gilligan does that a lot, where it has characters doing a thing without
Yeah.
saying anything, and then you find out later. Same for Call Saul.
You don't know the targets. You don't know why she's after these specific people.
Yeah. Or what
except
she's
for one,
doing, even.
mainly. But you, but as you're going through it, you get to understand a bit about her psychology. Even like you said before, the colors. There's something I always notice. I always imagine like a person who has like colored fingernails would be a bit, I don't know, confused or a bit like, they're very indecisive. They can't, they're sort of adrift from everyone else. There's nothing really much in order in their life. So I always thought that, let's say, like everything about it was she was, I guess you could say, distorted, in her own way, and it was a very interesting pick. I can't normally I can't really imagine something like this even being selected for like the Oscars in on most normal situations. But I'm glad now it's actually being nominated. Because
Yeah, it's good.
Karen Mulligan was fantastic, and so was this film.
I probably see it winning best original screenplay.
Yeah.
I mean, there's probably a couple movies that are close, but I definitely see it winning this. Probably not best movie. I mean, if it does win best movie, it's definitely for the wrong reasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would just
I know
be
what you're saying.
pandering to feminists.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, the Oscar does that, to be frank.
I think she could win Best Actress.
I was just gonna ask, do you guys know who she's up against for Best Actress? Because I think she's
Anthony
got a good
Hopkins
chance.
has been nominated. I think Chadwick Boseman is probably gonna win. Guys, come on.
He's not an actress though.
But he's
No,
not
they-
No,
actress.
sorry, no. Those are two different categories.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
sorry.
yes.
Apologies.
It's not best
I know
acting.
Frances
person.
McDormand, so that's going to be a tough one to go up against. But
Viola
do you know the
Davis.
rest?
Viola Davis, Andra
Yeah, Ma
Day,
Rainey's.
Vanessa
Sure.
Hudgens.
Viola Davis is tough.
Yeah,
Pieces of a Woman.
the problem I find with a lot of media, especially American media, because they tend to they'll make something popular for the wrong reason, and that might prevent the other side. And
I think
who
she
I'm
might
talking
win
about.
because she was pretty good.
What?
Like,
I'm enjoying
was,
it.
yeah.
Did you get that, guys?
no, what?
Because you mentioned something about enjoying it for the wrong reason.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I think sometimes they'll push it for the wrong reasons, and that can distort people's impression of it, and then people will have a different idea of the movie without even seeing it.
Yeah, when it came out first, even now, there was a bit of a social justice warrior backlash, and there is a bit, if you look up reviews, especially YouTube reviews, it's like people just slamming the dislike button for no reason other than, oh, it's about a woman dealing with woman stuff, and, this movie is against men, kind of things.
It's misandrist, yeah.
Yeah, which is complete bullshit. Like,
Yeah, which it's
I
not.
understand it probably comes from a personal place for this director. I don't know her, personally. I don't know her background, but it feels like there's a lot of personal things in this movie, and it might have been done for some of those reasons. But you just take it for what it is, right? Like, my experience of it isn't I'm watching a feminist movie. My
Yeah, for me,
experience
it's
is
a
I'm
bit-
watching a great revenge movie that also relates to real life things that are serious. Yeah.
Yeah, I think
for me, it's a vigilante movie, like what you said.
Yeah, it's more of
Idea-
a solid revenge film in my eyes. I mean, I'm a guy, sure, but I take it as that, and as that, it is great at being that.
and it's a different twist, I mean, it's not the normal kind of. I don't want to.
It is
without
definitely
spoil-
very
it's
original
different.
as well.
See it this way, guys. Like I said before, for the previous films I've mentioned, I managed to guess the plots.
But this one kept you guessing.
This one actually kept me guessing, and I was actually quite impressed by that alone.
Nice. And it was nice to see Mr. Krabs in the movie as well.
Yeah.
It's true. Yeah.
We should step on it, guys, and slowly wrap
Yes.
this up.
Okay, so
who's
John,
next?
you're number
Yeah.
one. First
Yeah.
place for Johnny Boy.
No, not for first place. All five, all over the place. I'm not ranking them best.
Okay,
It's
you're just telling
five.
us your number one best movie in the entire year.
You guys can
Yeah.
take it that way. You're just gonna.
Anything under this one, number
Yeah,
two
yeah.
down, is shit compared to it.
All right. So my last one to mention is Nomadland. This is I don't actually know. I think it's a quite an indie film. It was quite low budget, quite indie. It's been getting quite a bit of buzz. So if you guys have heard of it, it's probably through that. But what they were able to accomplish with this film, for what they had and the situation they had, it was quite amazing. This is a film that's it takes place in America with actually I'm not sure the exact year, but it wasn't quite I don't know if it was I don't think it was the recession or a recession, but it has to do with it follows a girl who just lost her job, and she kind of goes on the road. Well, kind of. No, she does. She goes on the road in her van, and she starts experience. Well, from the title, you could probably assume Nomadland. You know, she starts becoming a bit of a vagabond, and it follows her journey through kind of finding herself in this climate and well, you know, kind of meeting others in this situation. I don't know. I thought the you know the music, the way this actually the way this movie was composed in general was quite incredible, and it was not. It's a slow. I can't say slow burn because that expects you know something to. It was a. I guess it could be a slower paced film, but it was at not one point was I bored. I wasn't bored, so I think it was quite well done. So that's my I don't know number one,
Okay,
but it's
yeah, I've definitely heard a lot about it, and yeah, you told me about it as well. I think part of the cast were actual nomads.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I don't actually. I can't quote that, but I did get the impression, and I did hear some stuff
Yeah,
as
no,
well.
I think I saw a headline somewhere, so yeah, I'm pretty sure that's the case.
Yes.
Yeah, you mentioned it's like a mellow film. That's probably why I didn't start it. I mean, not that I have anything against mellow films, but I haven't been in that vibe lately, let's say.
No,
I've
it's
been,
fine. It's
you know,
definitely. I don't think
but
it's a
it's definitely
movie.
there. Like it's on my radar,
I
definitely.
don't think it'll put you off though. I think it's one of those. I think you'll be able to enjoy it because I touch and then Francis
I'm sure I
McDormand.
will if I watch it.
Yeah.
I'm sure I will.
Frances McDormand as normal is great, and I mean I think she's up in the best actress
She
categories.
is. Yes, she is.
So I mean we have Carey Mulligan up against Frances McDormand, that's going to be an interesting.
Okay.
Not quite. It's be interesting to see who wins that one, but yeah, there you go.
Any comments, Dave and Jer?
Sure.
D and J, DJs?
Honestly, I've been kind of putting this film off because of its sort of relaxed nature, sort of its more chill themes.
Dude, sometimes you need to just sit down, breathe.
I-
Breathe in,
I-
soak in an atmosphere.
How should I say? If I'm not a nervous wreck, I'm not functioning. That's basically my life.
Then you should watch The Father.
I need a constant.
I said nervous wreck, not emotional wreck.
Yeah.
From my perspective, I hadn't. I don't know. This doesn't seem to really like my kind of movie. Maybe I'll give it a watch someday. But yeah, there's not much I really have to say about it.
Yeah.
Never
Okay,
really-
David, we get it. You think it's garbage.
I don't
we
think-
get it,
I
we
don't
get it,
think-
God, he's
Anything
trying to be
up
so polite. He's thinking, oh my God, why does he have this movie on his list? Oh my God, I can't believe it.
You're revealing a lot about yourself, Dave.
Yeah.
Yeah, without
You're not
saying.
fooling anyone, man. No, I'm kidding.
Wait till I reveal my top one.
No, but I
We're
think
good, we're good.
yeah, I think us three who haven't seen it, we're pretty much on the same level in the sense that we didn't get to it. We heard a lot about it. We didn't ever feel like we were in the vibe to watch it, right? Like,
It's definitely
but
it's
it's
definitely
there,
I'd
and
say
we know it's like there's a lot of buzz about it. It's been like nominated for this, that. So I'm sure it's good. It's just a matter of getting to it.
yeah, don't push yourself. Don't push yourself to watch anything.
I'm
right? 'Cause
relaxed,
then you're-
man. I'm not. I don't feel pushed.
Yeah. it should be-
Anyways,
I'm
David,
vibing.
what's number one, man? What's number one?
Tell
Since,
us, what's
you're
the
actually
best
going in
movie
order.
ever made right
the,
now?
the best movie in the history of the human race,
The
made
history
at
of
least for-
2020.
at limited to the films I watched of 2020 as of today, is
Wonder Woman.
It's Wonder
Tenet.
Woman.
It's Tenet. guys.
Oh,
Tenet.
are you serious?
Oh.
Number one?
Oh.
Oh!
Tenet. It's Tenet. I liked Tenet a lot. I liked Tenet immensely. What I like about Tenet was what you said earlier before, how Nolan is he's just really good at making these of like, using studios' money well, and he doesn't treat his audience like idiots, but at the same time, he's not too pretentious. I like how Tenet explores the concept of time travel, and the way Tenet does it is, for me, a very original idea, which just kept me guessing. So every time I'm seeing it unfold before me, I'm thinking, so if this is going to happen, then it's like that. And it really got the gears in my head turning, especially in moments which I won't spoil, but I was like, oh my God, this is totally going to happen. And I see things from different angles. I'll just say it like that. The emotional aspect, as James pointed out, felt a little bit extra. In fact, the movie could have been a bit shorter because it feels like the protagonist, and that's actually what his name is, has a few too many steps to get to where he really wants to go. There's a lot of padding at the beginning, and it seemed to be for the excuse of getting big name actors like Michael Caine in, even though it was a good scene.
Michael
But
Caine.
Michael Caine. I mean, yeah, this movie could have been like 20 minutes shorter, 15 minutes shorter, you know. But I don't know. I found it not too hard to follow. I found the score to be just explosive, and it just absolutely rocked my socks off. And I do listen to it every now and then when I'm doing mundane, boring stuff at work, like posting invoices, and I go by much faster. Then I start
I'd fall
posting the
asleep after a minute
It's a
of
good.
that.
then I
It's
start
a,
posting the invoices in reverse. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
You start getting they start coming back to you.
Oh my
Yeah.
god.
You start doing the whole like, what was the gesture? I don't remember. Something
I
with your
can't
hands.
remember. No, but at some point I'm like, why is there a why is this reversed? I didn't reverse it. Then I find out why.
You had posterity playing in the background this whole time.
It
I
could.
know why you did that. It's because we live in a Twilight world.
Oh my god. But yeah, this movie was pretty good. The sound quality, yeah, super freaking loud. I followed advice and I watched it with subtitles, something I don't normally do for English language movies.
My advice.
And there were some moments when I would try to ignore the subtitles and follow the dialogue, and I just could not, and I had to look down, which was kind of, for me, it's a bit of a negative. It prevents this movie from being a perfect 10 on 10, but this is as close to a 10 on 10 as possible from my list.
Okay.
And I've gone over the time, but that's me.
Do you? Let me ask you a question. Do you prefer this or Inception? Because I prefer Inception. I think that was. You could argue whether dreams are more interesting than reverse action scenes. But I think as a whole, like for example, the emotional side of Inception, I thought worked much better
I
than
can't
with
comment.
Tenet.
I've seen Inception.
Okay.
I can't comment. I can break it down. In terms of the execution and choreography, I would prefer Tenet. In terms of the emotion, I prefer Inception. There's
Okay.
one particular scene, and it's at the airport. I won't get into it with Tenet. When I was watching it, and I was like, I was watching a certain hallway scene in Tenet, and I was just like,
Yeah, I mean the scene is in the
my
trailer. It's
my mind. No, I didn't watch the trailers. I was
Oh.
just blown away. I was like,
well,
what
it's
the-
basically someone fighting another person who's in reverse, right?
yes,
And actually, the way
yes.
they shot that was interesting because I think the other guy had to learn those moves in reverse,
Oh
so a lot of it was actually practical.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they did a lot of this in reverse practically. I mean, like they didn't just flip it or turn it around and post.
No, exactly. Yeah, it was a lot of practical, and you can tell just by the way like the clothes move and stuff. If you look
Yeah.
on the reverse guy, he has a SWAT outfit on purpose, so there's not too much flapping around, right? Or else you can tell if it's reversed or not.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wait,
One
so-
thing coming with this emotional, one thing that Tenet lacked that'll actually I think every Chris Nolan film, maybe not following as much, which is his like first feature film, but this one, the protagonist didn't have much of an emotional drive in this one. So
Yeah.
in Inception, he had his kids. In Memento, he had his wife, and well, Batman, it's different.
Oh.
Nolan always has some sort of his protagonists. Besides Dunkirk, because Dunkirk, it's a war film, so they all had emotional attachment to something, and there was many kind of protagonists in that one. But this one, the protagonist didn't have a figure or a goal that he was trying to that warranted emotion in that sense. So that kind of, I think, affected his character a bit.
Yeah, I think his character was kind of lacking because in a sense Christopher Nolan wanted to make a blank slate of a character, and I don't think that worked very well because it does actually keep you emotionally less invested. The thing about those other films is that if you think about it, the emotional core comes from the actor. Like in Inception, sorry, comes from the main character. In Inception, the core of the emotion, the film is actually him and his relationship with his kids and stuff like that,
Yeah.
right?
That's
But in
why
this
he's doing
one,
it.
there isn't that, right? So he's just
Yeah.
meeting this woman who's like, oh, my son this, my husband that, and he's just like almost inexplicably like so invested in her personal life, a bit weirdly so, and is kind of defending her. I mean, it is kind of explained that he cares, she's vulnerable, and she's being oppressed by this dude who's manipulating her. But this kind of it's a bit of forced the way that he gets involved into that personally. He does things that he shouldn't have done for the mission, and it doesn't feel as genuine as something like Inception.
I think maybe he probably got involved with her because she was a means to an end. He needed
Yeah.
to get to her to get his goal.
No, I understand
But
that,
then
but
later, yeah, maybe.
yeah, it turns into the fact that he's like, I don't want to spoil, but um, the focus moves from having to do this mission to, okay, now it's all about like making sure everything is done right by her. You know,
Right.
it's like, why would he, jeopardize everything for that? But anyway, I
Okay.
don't want to say much more. I just felt like it was forced.